you are very rarely in discomfort with Ohio State's receivers and O-line. So when I look at JJ McCarthy, he never threw 40 times a game. He always played with a lead. He had great protection. And I've said, I worry that it's like these Alabama quarterbacks, he's not ready for the NFL. Then he gets hurt, and that sets him back another year. So I do think the choice college kids make often doesn't necessarily, I mean, Matt Ryan goes to a school where he's got to throw guys open. He has to be anticipatory because nobody's wide open. What do you see with that? Is there anything about JJ McCarthy that you worry that he's just not quite ready for this life of somewhat duress and discomfort in the NFL?
Yeah, and I'm not sure we know that. I mean, I think you and I would both agree that Kevin O'Connell is really, really good in terms of defining reads and throws for the quarterback. Look what he did with Sam Darnold last year. So, you know, that remains to be seen, but I imagine there'll be a learning curve for JJ McCarthy. Obviously, in college, he did not throw the ball a lot, but he's got a good arm, a plus arm. He's got mobility. He's got traits. He's a good-sized kid. So there are traits that are there. I mean, even last year when he played in the first preseason game and then he was done for the year, I noticed an immediate difference in his drop and set in the pocket from when I watched him at Michigan. So obviously Kevin O'Connell, through the offseason as a rookie, really worked with him and really tightened him up in a lot of areas. So you have to assume that that continued. But now, once you get into the regular season games, we'll see. He'll be under a lot of pressure. There'll be duress. They've revamped their offensive line. That often takes time to come together. So we'll see. You never know the answer to that question. Then it depends on how the games are played. Is he going to be in games where he has to drop back 40 times? Can the team be good enough, Colin, where he only has to drop back 25 times? You know, there are so many variables. It's not very often for a young quarterback, it's not solely dependent on the young quarterback. It's the way in which he's able to play based on the rest of the team.
Yeah. And that's what's so frustrating about this conversation, because I agree with a first-year quarterback, essentially a rookie, first-year starter. He's coming off an injury, never played in the NFL. Yes, if he was consistently going to be playing from behind and his receivers were consistently not open and you needed him to drop back to throw 40-plus times a game, or just on average around 40 times, then yeah, I would be really concerned about JJ McCarthy and this Minnesota Vikings team. Because if it was just like, hey, kid, we got to give you and just your first game, and you got to throw the ball 40 times, and no one's going to be open. The run game's going to be not really consistent. The O-line's going to be pretty porous. You're going to be pressured probably roughly like 10, 15 times. So, yeah, it's going to get a little crazy out there. Best of luck. Best of luck to you. Like, yeah, I would be legitimately, like, concerned. Like, it's going to be a tough one for JJ out there. And the Vikings, I don't know how confident I feel that they're going to be contenders and this and that. But that's obviously not what anyone's predicting. And the reality is like, I don't need JJ McCarthy to be this complete quarterback right now. You have to leave room for these quarterbacks to grow. So even though Colin said, even with Colin saying, oh, we haven't seen him do this when he was in college and et cetera, and that's fine. But like I always emphasize, just because you haven't seen someone do it doesn't mean that they can't do it. And even if it's something that they need to work on and develop, you're banking on someone like a JJ McCarthy, where you're like, and this is what Greg Cosell was in essence saying, with the traits, he's got these traits, he's got this skill set. We've already seen him change and evolve from when he was in college to just his preseason game. You're also drafting a player. When we talk about like development, like this is what we're talking about. You're going to grow and evolve and get better and better and better. So when you have these interviews, when you have these conversations, when you look at the progression from in college from year 1 to 2 to 3 to year 1, year 2, like when you're now like in the NFL, like that's all part of the equation. It's not, I need to see this kid come from behind and I need to see him do it 8 times in college, and I need to see him go into shootouts and this and that. It's like, I mean, sure, some of that information could be helpful and could be interesting, But like, how many quarterbacks in college do you see who are just like out there letting it rip and having to throw a million times, and they're coming from behind and this and that and this that, and they're like not good quarterbacks. Like I get the fear of that when you're a part of a great program, the quarterback doesn't have to do much, and you have great wide receivers and great protection and a great defense, and you just kind of feels like, yeah, you just kind of need to be an avatar out there. And I get it. I do get that argument. But to just lump someone like JJ McCarthy in that category is just not fair. That's really kind of what I'm trying to emphasize as well. It's just like, because it's kind of a different end of the spectrum where you see a quarterback who's like also mobile. It's not fair to call them like a dual threat quarterback. Like, just because you can run around doesn't mean that you're great at both. So I reject that notion, and I accept the idea that JJ will there's going to be growing pains. Of course there will be. That's how the NFL works. I don't understand why everyone is so surprised that this is a thing in the NFL. Like, I just, when did these quarterbacks need to just be essentially like at their peak in year one of starting? Like, when did that become the thing? I don't remember when, honestly, because like I grew up watching football, and when you listen to the commentators, when you're watching the young guys in the middle of the game, like you hear the commentators be like, yep, he's going to learn. Well, he's got to figure out what type of throws he's going to be able to get away with. You were able to get away with that in college. You can't get away with that in the NFL. Like, that's all those guys become a broken record. I hear Chris Collinsworth commentate, his words in my head talking about Carson Wentz, and I hear Troy Aikman talking about Jaden Daniels and about Bo Nix, and trying to think of someone else recently, but it doesn't matter. But I hear their mind. I hear the things that they're saying. Right. And I remember specifically watching a Carson Wentz game, and he was like, and it was Chris Collinsworth, and he's like, yep, that's a throw that rookie quarterbacks always seem to make, and they just don't realize that you can't get away with that at the NFL level. But he'll learn. But like, now there's no learning. Now there's no like, nope, not allowed to have any of that. Must be able to throw the ball 40 times from behind. Defense has to be bad. You have to show that you can absolutely put this entire team on your shoulders. If we were trying to figure out, is JJ McCarthy about to be in the GOAT conversation, then fine. We could have that conversation. Okay, fine. I mean, I think it would be a dumb conversation and not worth having. But it's just like, to me right now, the conversation should be, can JJ McCarthy be a legitimate contributor to this Minnesota Vikings team? Will he be a liability because of where he's at in his growth and development and where the rest of the team is? Like, that's a more accurate conversation. Not, is JJ McCarthy ready to be a hero for this team when they need him? And it's like, well, I don't know, man. That's asking kind of a lot right now. It's August of his first year starting, coming off an injury. Like, can we like let him get a little comfortable in the NFL? Can we let him like get kind of his bearings, right? And have a feeling for how this is all gonna go? I mean, I think that's fair. I don't think we're babying him at that point. So yeah, it's honestly, in a weird way. I mean, I don't want anyone to ever get injured, but like, I'm kind of grateful that JJ McCarthy got injured, in hindsight, because now we get this other quarterback. Because right now it's just like Cam Ward and Shador, and like, no, people aren't really talking about Cam Ward that much because people don't really have a lot of belief in Tennessee Titans, and Shador is like his own thing. And now we got JJ McCarthy, and it's just like, you would think that he was a number 1 overall pick this year. I mean, probably number 2 overall pick. Shador Sanders is number 1, and JJ McCarthy was number 2. But like, there's a lot of energy behind this team, the Vikings, JJ, and I'm all for it. Honestly, I'm all for it. And I think the one thing that I'll say to the Vikings fans is just like, because I know they get upset with these conversations around JJ. We got too many JJs out here, but it's a positive. It was hard to get people talking about the Minnesota Vikings last year, and even when they're like, oh, I don't believe in them. They're not that good. And now there's just like, hey, this team could be great. How great can the quarterback be? That's a question mark. So like, let's keep talking about it until we see it. So there's a lot of momentum behind this team. There's a lot of energy behind this team. And, even though there's some question marks and some doubts around JJ McCarthy, which, to be fair, I think is okay because we've never seen him play in the NFL. So that is fine. That is acceptable. But I don't know. In a lot of ways, these are at least better conversations than what have been had in years past with the Minnesota Vikings. So I can appreciate that, right? It's better this than what they're saying about pretty much half the league, right? What they're talking about with the Cleveland Browns, what they're talking about with the Tennessee Titans, what they're talking about with Carolina Panthers and whatnot. That's what I'm saying. Is anyone talking about Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers right now? No, they're not. Is Colin saying buying that Bryce Young has turned a corner and is going to lead the Panthers to win the division? No one's having that conversation. No one's having that conversation. So it's like it actually shows you that there's like legitimate momentum here. So that personally excites me. That personally excites me. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Minnesota Vikings and JJ McCarthy? Are you buying Vikings with JJ at quarterback? That's such a bizarrely specific question. Buying Vikings with JJ at quarterback? Like, I mean, he is the quarterback for the Vikings. Like, are you saying then that they just completely wasted the pick and it was just an absolute swing and a miss then? Like, right? Like, is that the question? Are you buying that they can be an immediate contender? Like, oh man, it's going to get fun this season. But those are just my thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. It's whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. Please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.